Hello, welcome to our viewers on ASI News Broadcast, bringing you the latest top news for today. Obama unchains CPI in new budget proposal. Obama's forthcoming budget will not include a provision to slow the inflation of Social Security payments, a left-leaning senator said Friday. Senator Bernie Sanders told reporters that Obama has no plans to make chained CPI a calculation method that suggests a lower inflation rate in the Consumer Price Index, part of his 2016 spending blueprint. Obama used chained CPI in his 2013 budget request, but he dropped it from subsequent requests after it prompted a tremendous backlash from the left. Chained or chain-weighted, CPI takes into account the effect of substitution, in which consumers respond to price fluctuations by buying fewer expensive items and more inexpensive items, and the formula is widely believed to give a more accurate reflection of cost of living increases. But it usually gives a rate of inflation about 0.25% lower than the traditional CPI basket, which in turn slightly shrinks the basis for Social Security annual cost of living adjustments. Sanders, an independent who caucuses with the Democrats, is the minority party's top member on the Senate Budget Committee. He said Democrats will rally key groups, including veterans, to protest budget-cutting efforts of Republicans include in their spending bill, particularly when it comes to Social Security. The office of Representative Paul Ryan, chairman of the House Budget Committee, circulated a Wall Street Journal editorial published Friday calling for a reform of Social Security and potentially a reduction in disability payments for some. Sanders, however, said Democrats oppose any move to reduce Social Security payments. He called for closing tax loopholes on the rich, which he said could raise tens of billions of dollars to help the poor and close a widening income gap. Sanders promised to be extremely aggressive in social media and to tap into senior and veteran organizations who are likely to oppose social. Obama's grim warning to Congress. New Iran sanctions could lead to war. Obama warned Congress Friday that new economic sanctions against Iran could lead directly to war, and British Prime Minister David Cameron said he's personally appealing to top lawmakers to hold off and allow diplomatic negotiations with Iran to play out. At a news conference in the White House, both leaders pleaded with congressional leaders to wait just a few more months before pursuing new sanctions against Iran. Mr. Cameron said such action would splinter the international community, which right now is unified against Iran's pursuit of a nuclear weapon. But Obama was even more direct, warning the American people that the representatives on Capitol Hill could plunge the U.S. into another war in the Middle East by pushing another round of sanctions. The U.S., Britain, and its allies in the so-called P5+1, Russia, China, France, and Germany, in 2013 secured a deal that halted some parts of Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of some economic sanctions against the country. The two sides still have not reached a final agreement. The deadline for a final deal has been extended twice, with the next deadline looming in June. But some lawmakers believe now is the time to double down on economic sanctions against Iran, even as diplomatic talks continue. There is support in both parties for more sanctions. While in Washington this week, Mr. Cameron said that he's personally appealed to members of the Senate to take additional sanctions off the table right now. I've contacted a couple of senators this morning, and I may speak to one or two more this afternoon, not in any way as a British Prime Minister to tell the American Senate what it should or shouldn't do. That wouldn't be right, he said, but simply to make the point that as a country that stands alongside America in these vital negotiations, that it is the opinion of the United Kingdom that further sanctions or the further threat of sanctions at this point won't actually help bring the talks to a successful conclusion, and they could fracture the international unity there has been. And those were the latest news brought to you from the American Studies Institute from Tehran. You can also check our website at www.asipress.us. Thanks for watching.